Since Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, believed by Israel to be chief architect of the militant group's deadly October 7, 2023, terror attack that set off the war in Gaza, has been killed by Israeli forces. Since Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Sinwar's death marked the beginning of the day after Hamas, he vowed that Israel would continue fighting Hamas in Gaza until all hostages are returned home. Since in a call discussing Sinwar's death, Netanyahu and U.S. President Joe Biden agreed there was an opportunity to advance the release of the hostages in Gaza. U.S. officials said they would redouble their efforts with mediators to push for a ceasefire deal. Since despite optimism that Sinwar's death could speed a Gaza deal, two sources told CNN that Israel's approach to Iran and its proxies in other countries are seen as distinct operations. Israel's pending retaliation against Iran could come within days, one source said. Lebanon-backed Hezbollah, meanwhile, has announced a new and escalating phase in its war with Israel. U.S. President Joe Biden had envisioned a day after for Gaza without Hamas in power following Israel's killing of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. But it's just as likely that his demise does nothing to alter the Middle East's tragic reality. The elimination of terrorist masterminds rarely solves conflicts rooted deep in history in a region where each war simply sows the bitter seeds for the next one. Sinwar's elimination, however, caused a hurried relaunch of Washington's so far frustrated attempts to end the war in Gaza that has caused a humanitarian catastrophe and is casting a shadow over Vice President Kamala Harris' election hopes. Biden reacted to Sinwar's death by declaring justice had been served and simultaneously cranked up pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to embrace the moment to end the fighting in Gaza. The president was quickly on the phone with his sometimes estranged partner in Israel, and he issued the statement calling for a day after in Gaza without Hamas in power, and for a political settlement that provides a better future for Israelis and Palestinians. Impediment to peace removed. In the U.S., Sinwar was seen as a major impediment to the Biden administration's failed efforts to broker a ceasefire that would see the release of remaining hostages in Gaza and alleviate a disastrous humanitarian crisis. This is only half the story since, at times, U.S. officials have suggested Netanyahu had interests in prolonging the war as well.